Welcome back to the shop and to the channel. I'm going to get back to work on the KNT this week. Took a little bit of a break from it. The task that I want to try to figure out today is to get this table off of the saddle. I'm going to get started on the right side of the table, removing this cover that goes over the end of the lead screw. This covers the end of the lead screw that's got a splined section on it that would normally be used to attach what's called a low lead attachment, and that's used for cutting helical gears. I haven't looked at the parts diagram yet. I think I might be able to figure this out as I go, but I will probably need to refer to that at least a little bit to try to figure out how some of this goes together so I can learn how to get it apart. There's this big collar on this end of the lead screw that looks like it's held in place with some set screws. I'm backing them off. It doesn't want to rotate even with those backed off. So I'm wondering right now, does this just slip on or does it thread on? I'm going to test the waters here a little bit and see if this bracket will come off without removing that collar. Well, if this collar is screwed on, it needs a spanner wrench, and I don't have one that's quite right size. I'll try this little one here, but it's not really fitting in the hole, and it's not really giving me a good bite in order to see if it'll spin. I'm not really a big fan of using a steel punch in place of a spanner wrench, but it's what I have right now. I don't have another wrench that'll fit this, and right now I just want to see if I can at least get it to move a little. Well, that's not doing anything for me, so I think I'm going to let this sit for a little bit and stew on it, and I'll move on to some other parts. Underneath this flat piece of steel, there is a screen that's used to, I guess, filter out chips and stuff so they don't go back down into the coolant system. There's a button head cap screw on either end. As I expected, underneath that guard is a boatload of chips. I don't really think that this machine really saw all that much use, but boy, they didn't really do anything to try to keep it clean. And just like the guard, the screen is only held in with a couple of screws. I'm going to clean some of this gunk out of here now. I'm not sure exactly what all this is. My suspicion is that some of this is rust from using a water-based coolant. I will not be using water-based coolants in this thing. I'll only be using oil-based. Moving over to the left-hand bracket, before I can take it off, I know I have to remove this crank clutch. It's held in with a taper pin, and as usual, it's tricky trying to figure out just which side is the small side. The diameters on these are so close, I didn't feel like getting out the caliper, so if one side doesn't work, the other side must. There are 3 large Philister head screws that are holding this left-hand bracket onto the edge of the table. And it looks like the left-hand bracket just has like an oil light bearing pressed in. No ball bearings or roller bearings on this side. After taking a look at the parts manual, this collar is definitely threaded onto the end of the lead screw. So without a spanner wrench, I'm have to resort to a punch. But I'm using a brass punch here, a brass punch and a brass hammer. So they got it loose, so I should be able to wind it the rest of the way off. There's a nut on the end of the shaft here that has to come off before the collar will slip off of the end. And this bracket should come off the end of the table. These are pinned with dowels, so they will take a little bit of effort to get them off. I am having a little bit of trouble. It looks like it is stuck on something. I'm not exactly sure what that is just yet. Reseating those dowels just to see if I can see anything else. I noticed this key that's wedged in here next to one of the bearings. And this is a very odd looking key. It's L-shaped, and I did verify with the parts manual that that is definitely what it's supposed to look like. A little bit of persuasion now, and this bracket should come right off. There's nothing holding it up now. And there's definitely a pair of tapered roller bearings inside this bracket that sound pretty crunchy, which kind of sucks because the best price I was able to find to replace these bearings is going to cost me around $300. Well, there's nothing holding the table on the saddle now except the friction caused by the gib. So I'll start here with the gib screw on the right side of the saddle. There's a second gib screw over here on the left side of the saddle. The gib is in there pretty tight. I can't move it very easily, but I can get a brass punch on it, and I can start tapping it out from the right side, moving it a little bit, but I'm going to have to do something else to get it out the rest of the way. Well, I figured out that if I hold on to the gib as best I can with my right hand and then push the table and then pull it back left with the gib, that I can work it free from the saddle dovetail. Well, the table is completely free now. I should be able to push it off onto the utility cart. But before I do, I'm going to take this lead screw all the way out. I don't want to risk that the table falls on the lead screw and ends up bending it. Similar to how I removed the table off of the Bridgeport, I'm going to use this utility cart with a couple of 4x4s on it. I just need to lower the knee until the table is at just the right height. And now I can push that table off right onto the cart. Well, getting a look at the inside of the saddle for the first time, it is loaded with grease or dried oil. I'm hoping that the previous owner didn't grease it, but they may have. I'm not sure that if this is supposed to take any kind of grease or if it's just all oil. Maybe this is dried oil. I'm not really sure. I want to get a look at the ways, so I'll use a little bit of brake cleaner and wipe them down. There's still some flaking on the ways, so the wear on this isn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. Of course, there is wear in it, but there's still some of the original flaking, so maybe it has a lot more life left in it than I expected. Looking at these gears here on the end, this one on the right has a really funny shape to it. I can't tell if it's supposed to be that shape or if this thing had been crashed and it ground the heck out of it. It's almost got like a step on it. Maybe that's just from years of wear. I want to take a look at the underside of the table to see what these ways look like. I'm hoping that they're at least half as good as what I'm seeing on the saddle. Well, I'm happy to see that just like the saddle, these ways actually look like they're in good shape. There's no major gouges in them, and you can still see some of the flaking. Not nearly as much as what was on the saddle, but there is still a little bit there. So again, I don't think I have the budget. Well, I know I don't have the budget to have these ways reground and then to go through the effort to learn how to scrape these things or have them scraped back flat. So I'm happy to know that I should be able to put this thing back together with really good results. The last thing I need to do with the table is to go ahead and get these bearings out of the right hand bracket. There's a cover on each side that holds the bearings in place. And I think the easiest way to get these apart is going to be just using a brass punch and hitting on the bearing race. There is a ton of dried up oil or maybe even grease, which would be wrong, on the inside of this bearing cover. I suspect the other side is going to be just as bad, if not worse. Well, since I will be replacing these bearings regardless of the cost, I might as well remove the races now too so I can get everything cleaned up and ready for reassembly when that time comes. Well, I think that's going to be enough for this week. This wasn't as challenging as I was expecting it to be, so I've got a lot of cleanup to do though before this can go back on. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. That really means a lot to see the channel grow. It doesn't cost you anything. And hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one.